This is the MochaFootball.com.
The MochaFootball.com.
This is the MochaFootball.com weekly podcast.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Kevin Grant, and I'm with the great Damon Anderson, and this is the MochaFootball.com weekly podcast. Damon, we made it to week 3. We will get into the Seneca Northwest game from last Friday, and also the primetime matchup between Northwest and Blair that happens to be the game of the week. We'll also look at some of the bigger matches that will have Elite Six ramifications. We'll first take a look back at the Northwest Seneca game. Damon, this thing turned out to be one hell of a defensive battle, and in the end, Seneca came up on top of the two-time defending state champions, 14-7. Seneca played one hell of a game, really frustrating Mark Pierce. You were there last week. Tell us what you thought about the game, and do you think that Seneca exposed Northwest in any way, and this is just a sign of things to come for the Jags, or was this just another bump in the road that they will overcome?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, I was on hand for the 2015 iteration matchup for the King's Trophy in Germantown. Before we get into the game, I just wanted to say it was a great atmosphere. All the kids, faculty for both schools, fans, supporters, parents. It was a packed house. It was a great sight to see. It was a beautiful night. But to get to your question, I don't want to say Seneca Valley, quote unquote, exposed Northwest.
Right.
If they did anything, they showed that you can run Northwest if you have the horses.
Right.
The point being, not a lot of teams in the county have a 1-2 punch in the rushing attack that the Seneca Valley Screaming Eagles have in Golston and Platte.
Right.
I referenced this in the Elite Six rankings this year. Adrian Felice Platte has now found the thunder to his lightning in Darius Golston, and this game was a coming out party for Mr. Golston. 16 attempts for 118 yards. And they were hard-fought yards. It wasn't anything quote-unquote pretty. It was a brutal Russian attack. Mr. Golston had the ball. Specifically, there was a play where I think he broke about 6 tackles.
Right.
It was out of control.
Right.
So if I had to pick on something for Northwest, it was the rushing defense. With that being said, Northwest returned the favor. Khalil Owens went off for 133 yards.
Right.
So yeah, both teams, if anything, they can shore up their rush defense. And if I really want to get picky on something, both teams really need to cut down on the penalties. A lot of false starts, a lot of offsides, dead ball penalties. Yeah. I don't think the game would have turned out much different if those penalties were cut down, but it's just something you don't want to see.
Right.
It breaks your momentum. It gets you out of what you're trying to do on offense. So, yeah. But overall, it was a great game. I thoroughly enjoyed watching these two teams go to battle. They hate each other, but they respect each other, and you could tell that on the field. There were a lot of big hits on both sides of the ball.
Oh, yeah.
Both teams came to play. There was some serious pad popping going on last Friday night. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Mark Pierce, he looked good from my standpoint. As we mentioned in the preseason, he's coming into the season with not as many weapons as he's had the past 2 years.
Right.
So he's basically breaking in a whole new cast. And I just think this is a part of the process. He had a serviceable game, 15 for 22, although he did have 2 interceptions. One was a tip ball going off the hands of a receiver into a Seneca Valley defender's hand. Right. And the other one was at the end of the game on a Hail Mary. I can't take away points for him on either one of those interceptions. He put the ball where it was supposed to be on most of his passing attempts for whatever reason, they just didn't turn into conversions.
Right.
With that being said, I think Northwest is going to be okay. Their defense through 2 games has literally only given up 1 touchdown.
Right.
Seneca Valley, their 1 touchdown was on an 80-yard fumble return. So moving forward, let's not press the panic button yet for Northwest.
Right.
It's 1 loss. It's to a 3A opponent. Basically, Northwest is in the same boat that Quince Orchard was last week. Yeah, you lost a game. You never want to do that. But if there's a silver lining, it's a 3A opponent. You're not going to see them again for the rest of the year.
That's very true. Yeah.
You're still pretty much in the driver's seat along with Quince Orchard in terms of regional points. So,
right.
Yeah, you just shore up the offense. Your defense is where it should be. So, and the offense is going to get there. You have Mark Pierce. You just have to work in these new kids.
Right.
Specifically for Northwest, I thought Reggie Anderson looked good when they got him on the ball. He made some great catches. After he got the ball, added on some serious yards after catch. He looked good. And, of course, Khalil Owens just went off in the rushing attack. They gave him a heavy dose, 25 attempts. That's a lot of attempts for high school for 137 yards. So I think they're going to be okay moving forward. Over for Seneca Valley, I mean, I already talked about Darius Golston. Like, that was his coming out party. And the attempts that Platt got, he really didn't get going into the second half, but when he did get going, I mean, he sealed the deal for Seneca Valley on that final drive in the game. He had 1 run. He literally should have went down 3 times on this run, but through sheer will, he turned what should have been maybe a 5-yard gain into like a 30-yard game to get the first down and just extend the drive and run more clock off in the fourth quarter, and basically put Northwest deep into their territory before they turned the ball over on downs, which unfortunately didn't leave a lot of time on the clock for Northwest to make that final drive. Right. But overall, excellent game. This is what I expect out of Montgomery County football, especially between 2 heated rivals. Hats off to Coach Kim and his staff. They put together a great game plan, and they brought the King's Trophy back to the Valley. And to quote Coach Fred Kim in his post-game speech, I think it's safe to say the Valley is back.
I don't think that Northwest got exposed at all. What happened was we found out more about Seneca. I will say that the lack of scoring is kind of concerning for Northwest, but when offense is the problem for Northwest, they should be feeling okay up there in Germantown. Anytime you have Mark Pierce on your team, you're going to have a good offensive ball club. And I think that the defense stepping up, only allowing 1 offensive touchdown this year, I think that's an encouraging sign for them. I think everyone just needs to gel together. For Seneca, I thought Deion Jordan and Quante Pearson had great games at linebacker, and we all know what Kendall Penhouse can do. Last week was really Darius Golston's coming out party, man, and with him and Adrian, I think that we found out that Seneca is actually a real contender for the state championship. All right, on to this week. We have Northwest, who's going to try to forget about last week and gear up for Blair on Friday. Damon Blair has been killing it, over 40 points week 1 versus Northwood, over 50 points week 2 versus BCC. Now, I know that Blair has not been going up against an SEC schedule, but Chris Green, Desmond Colby, and those boys, they've been looking good. We just got done talking about some of Northwest's issues that they have. Do you think that Blair will have a shot of exploiting some of the same weaknesses that Seneca exposed? Or do you think that Northwest has just too much right now in this stage of their development compared to Blair?
I'll say this. Blair looked extremely well through the first 2 games of the season. But based off of what we've seen so far, when it comes to playing Northwest, I don't know. I don't think they have the rushing attack to exploit what we think is Northwest's weakness, which at this point, literally based off of 1 game, is rush defense. Right. It might be a mirror image of each other. Northwest wants to throw the ball. Things like penalties and drop passes is keeping the offense from clicking in the way it should be. I don't think Blair is even concerned about that. You know what you're going to get when you face the Blair Blazers. I mean,
right.
Desmond Colby is making a case, along with Zabalos from Peyton Branch, for all-county QB.
Right.
They're 1-2 in passing yardage so far through 2 games. So, yeah, they're going to live by the sword and die by the sword. I expect this game to be pretty high scoring. If I had to put money on it, I'm not going to go too far left field and pick Blair to win this game, but I expect it to be a heck of a lot more competitive than it was last year in the playoffs.
Right.
I will say this. Blair's defense seems to have improved. Now, granted, they haven't played the best competition.
Right.
But just based off of what I've seen on film, it looks like they've made some steps in shoring up what is probably their weak point. They have tried to incorporate a rushing attack. It doesn't look like they've settled on a featured back.
Right.
It looks like they're giving even carries to split between 3 different guys. Travis Taylor, Jaden Seals, Eric Zakori. Keep teams honest. Because everybody knows that the Blazers live and die off the arm of Desmond Colby. He has an excellent receiving core. Amari Brooks, Tucker Carter, Chris Green literally went off last week. Almost 200 yards receiving.
Yep.
Yeah, they're serious. The Northwest DBs, this is going to be the first time this season they're going to get a lot of work.
Oh, yeah.
So it's going to be a very, very interesting matchup. But right now, even though the champs took it on the chin last week, I'm still going to ride with them this week. I got them winning 42-35.
That's a good score right there. It's a good score.
Yeah, I basically think Northwest is going to get their offense rolling again this week. Week 1 versus Gaithersburg, I mean, they shut Gaithersburg out, but they only put up 20-some-odd points.
Right.
Obviously, against a stout Seneca defense this week, penalties kind of hampered them, drop passes.
Right.
I think they're going to put in a lot of work in that passing attack this week, and I think things are going to finally start to click. It should be a track meet, no doubt about it.
Northwest is going to have to play a really good game on Friday to come out on top. Probably the biggest game that Blair has had in their history, given the certain states of both teams. Like I mentioned earlier, Chris Green has been killing it for Blair, but it's not just him. Blair probably has one of the best wide receiver cores in the whole county, with Amari Brooks, Cliff Carter also. But the only problem is Northwest has a great defensive backfield. We all know about Martin Foray, but the guy that I think is becoming a star for Northwest is Ibrahim Kanate, the corner that has been money for them the first 2 games. Martin has been playing a lot of rover safety as of late. I would be interested to see if they move him more to the corner position and attempt to take away 2 Blair's many weapons between him and Kanate. But I think this is a very interesting matchup. Everyone, Desmond Colby, the great quarterback from Blair, is back with us again. His team is on a tear right now, getting off to a 2-0 start to the season, and now they're heading into a mega matchup versus Northwest. Desmond, talk about this 2-0 start that you guys have had to the season. It just seems like everything's clicking right now for you guys. Is there anything that has surprised you so far? Maybe like the efficiency that you guys are playing at. How fun has it been to get off to this kind of start, to be playing this well early in the season?
Yeah, I've been just really impressed this year with the whole team. I mean, I knew we were going to be good. Kids, more than just being bigger and faster than we were, they know what they're supposed to do, and it showed through the first 2 games. So I feel it makes me as a quarterback much more confident when everyone, all the other 10 players around you and on defense just show that they know, that they took the offseason seriously, that they kind of use all that towards these our season, and it's great to kind of feel it click like the way it has.
Last year, you guys were more of a grinded out attack that relied on ball control. You guys are really spreading it out, letting your playmakers go to work. You still managed to stay efficient even though the offense is more on your shoulders. We talked about this in the offseason in the last conversation about opening up the offense. When you guys were installing this new offense, during training camp and the offseason, what were you envisioning the potential of it possibly being? And has it lived up to your expectations in the first 2 games?
When we looked around at the end of last season and saw who we were missing, but who we still had, everyone in our program knew that is definitely one of the strong suits of our team. And I'm happy with the way we started as a group collectively. But, it's great when you have wideouts, like Amari Brooks, Chris Green, Clifford Carter, because I've said it before, and I still think they are the best wide receiver core in the county.
Right.
And so it's great to have all of them there. We knew that we were going to be able to do something special this year, especially with this group. Not just obviously our whole team, but we knew this group was kind of going to be the backbone of the team and what would take us to where we want to go.
Talk about some of your playmakers. I remember you said over the offseason that you felt that Blair may have one of the best wide receiver cores in the county. How exciting has it been to play with those guys week in and week out?
If anything, it makes my job a hell of a lot easier.
Right.
They are some of the most incredible athletes I've ever been around, and not just have one big wide receiver, but
right. You got like 3
or 4.
Right.
Our entire wide receiver core. It makes it much harder on defenses because you can't just cover up a Chris Green because there's Clifford Carter or Amari Brooks on the other side.
Right.
So it's allowed us to just spread out the field completely and pick and choose where we want to go by how the defense react. So that wide receiver core and their athleticism and just how much they know about the football IQ
right.
has made it so much easier for me and easier for the team, and just it's really allowed us to put up the points that we knew we could and the points that we want to put up this year.
The 2-time defending state champions are coming to your house this week. They're coming off of a tough loss last Friday to a rival, so they're going to be looking to rebound. How excited are you guys about this opportunity to be on a big stage with everybody watching, and how confident is your team going into this matchup?
We've been, ever since the schedule came out, this has obviously been one circled on our schedule.
Right.
Especially for kids who walked off that field last year after the loss. As the offseason went on, we knew we'd have a better team this year, and it's kind of that feeling that was inside us as we walked off the field. I know, especially for the kids who played in that game, it's still inside of us.
Right.
And so we're using that. We know that this is our week, and going into the last year into the game, you felt a little bit of insecurity around the teams because we've never been put in a situation like that.
Right.
But it feels like a whole different animal this year. Everyone on the team feels like this is our game to win. We are not scared of them. We are, not just. We all saw the score on Friday night in Seneca Valley, but
right.
We felt like even without that, this team this year, with that heart and all that stuff behind it, just could get the job done against Northwest Week 3.
Right.
And just get them back for what we've all wanted since the offseason started.
Right. Absolutely. You guys feel like this is a special team.
Oh yeah, this is. I've been playing football a long time, but yeah, this is a very special team. It's a very athletic team, and it's a team that just loves. I would say loves the game more than anything else. On Friday night, you just feel that passion in the air, and it just makes it a whole lot more fun to play too. More than anything else, it's a lot of fun to play.
Right.
With your teammates, and that's why we feel no matter who we play, whether it's Northwest or any other team, we have a chance against any team.
My last question is, what is the mood and atmosphere like in the school right now? You guys are playing really well, and you have one of the biggest events in school history happening on Friday. Talk about what's going on at Blair this week.
It's, as this Coach Fields' 3rd year as head coach, and I've been with him since his first year here.
Right.
So it's very interesting to see how much football has grown to be a culture of our school. I mean, from week 1 against Northwood, the turnout was amazing, and it's great as a player to feel all that support from not just the school but the community around you.
Right.
People are coming together, and everyone's just doing what they can for you.
Right.
And so it makes it so much more special.
Right.
You know, that you're not just playing for yourself, that you're playing for a community and a school, and so that has been amazing. But then especially this week, I mean, everyone you talk to, there's all the chatter about last year and,
right,
you know, our chances at Northwest this year. And so there's definitely something special about this week. You can feel from everybody around you, the fans, the students who are going. And so it's something special, and we are looking forward to getting our opportunity.
Well, man, thank you so much for taking this time. I know it's been a busy week for you preparing, and I know you got a little bit of extra film work in and everything like that this week. So thank you so much for taking the time out, and you know, we'll be watching on Friday.
All right, thank you, too.
No problem. Getting into some of the Elite Six action this week, we have the new #1 team in the county, Damascus, heading over to Germantown to face the Watkins Mill Wolverines. I know, Damon, they have to be a little bit of disappointment over their performance last week versus Gaithersburg. Do you think they use the disappointment as motivation, or is it just another Jake Funk show again for Damascus?
The Damascus train is going to continue to roll. This is a stone cold lock of the week. I still like Watkins Mill. I think they got a lot of great things to come later on in the season, but yeah. I mentioned it last week. They have to win the games they're supposed to win,
right,
if they want to make a run in the playoffs.
Right.
The Gaithersburg games, that may come back to haunt them.
Yeah.
It's not over yet. There's still plenty of time
yeah,
to right the wrong, but yeah.
They can't drop another one of those, man. They can't drop another one of those games that, you know.
Agreed.
It's a toss-up. Like, you know, we all know the games that we're kind of thinking that they're going to lose, but they can't drop another one of those games that, you know, it's a toss-up between them and another team.
Agreed. Yeah, I mean, I said this in my Elite Six rankings blurb that I don't expect Damascus to get tested until week 9 when they face Seneca Valley, and I'm sticking to that.
Right.
That you might as well just take this snippet that I'm saying right now, and you can replay it for the next 7 weeks.
Well, that's good to know. That'll give me less work to do. Absolutely.
Yeah. Once again, it's going to be the Jake Funk show. They're going to, you know what you're going to get with Damascus. It's up to you to stop it, and I just don't see that happening this week or for the foreseeable future until week 10 when they go to the Valley that face the Screaming Eagles. I still think Watkins Mill is an improved playoff caliber team,
right, but
they're not on the level of Damascus yet. Damascus level is the elite of the elite.
Right.
They're #1 in the Moco Football .com ranking, top 5 in the Washington Post, top 6 in the state, I think.
Right.
Yeah, they are the elite of the elite. They are odds-on favorite to win the 3A state title, and they're playing like it. They're playing like the champs we expect them to be.
Right.
That's not a knock against Watkins Mill. They're just not at that level yet. Maybe further on down the line in a couple of years they can get to that level, but right now this is the Damascus Swarming Hornets time.
Next, we have Coach Song heading back to his old stomping grounds over at Seneca, taking with him at Churchill Ball Club. Has a lot of momentum coming off a big comeback win over Einstein. Andrew Zuckerman has just been a beast so far this season. How do you see this game playing out?
Yeah, Zuckerman, he's definitely stepped up the game. It's always a challenge when you have a new coaching staff coming in, and especially for a player like Zuckerman. He's been through the ringer in terms of, changing coaches, changing schemes, changing teammates, players coming in, players leaving.
Right.
But he's been the mainstay for the Bulldogs in Potomac for a few years now.
Right.
And
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
The wealth of talented running backs we have in Montgomery County. I mean, come on, 36 attempts, 276 yards. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's insane.
Absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of what we expected to see. Maybe not like that good, but yeah, I'm not surprised at all by Zuckerman's performance. Unfortunately, I don't think it'll be enough. He's going to need some help if they're going to knock off Seneca Valley this week.
Right.
I don't expect this game. I expect it to be competitive, probably for the first half. But I think the tandem of Platt and Golston for Seneca Valley is going to wear down that Churchill defense. I have Seneca Valley winning 28-14.
That's a good score. I mean, actually, I think
it's going to be a competitive game, but yeah, I see Seneca Valley basically just pulling away at the end. Zuckerman's a beast, no doubt about it, but you need 10 other players to pull it off, and I just don't think Churchill has the horses.
Honestly, I think that Churchill will take that. I mean, I know they're saying they would want to win the game, but 2014, I think they will take that, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Absolutely. I agree with you 100%.
Number 3, Paint Branch has their first real test of the season this week when they go up against Gaithersburg. I don't know if you've been seeing what this boy Armani Ceballos has been doing for Paint Branch, but this man has passed for 751 yards in 2 games. You got people getting shoulder rubs for 800 yards in the season. This man has almost done that in 2 games. J.D. Guerrero and Ivan Ndee has been an unstoppable duo so far for Paint Branch. A name that everyone should watch out for Gaithersburg is Denzel Dalton. I think everybody remembers Billy Brown, the great defensive end and wide receiver that played for Gaithersburg a few years ago. This kid kind of reminds me of him a little bit, size, the positions that he plays, the impact he has on the game. What do you think of this game, Damon?
Yeah, you mentioned it. Ceballos is just playing out of his mind right now.
Right.
He's living up to his first namesake. He is looking like a well-tailored quarterback out there.
Right.
This is a fine Italian linen. Yeah, Coach Nee has those boys clicking, no doubt about it. That Paint Branch offense is a thing of beauty to watch when they're clicking, which they're doing right now.
Right.
I think it's going to be similar to the Northwest Gaithersburg game we saw early in the season. I think Gaithersburg is going to be able to put up some points.
Right.
But I think they'll be able to keep up with the offensive output that Paint Branch is going to put on.
Right.
I don't think Armani is going to go off for another 300-yard game, but it's going to be close.
Right.
I project him to get around 225, 250 yards, minimum 3 touchdowns passing. And that's not even factoring in what is starting to be a budding Paint Branch offense. Justin Hockaday, he went off last week, over 100 yards.
Right.
They spread the ball around a little bit. Cedric Content getting into the rushing attack.
Right.
So that's just more kids you got to worry about.
Oh, you got to worry about so much. You got to worry about so much with them.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. You got Evan Dickerson, J.D. Guerrero, Ivan Nadi. Yeah, this is a lot. This is too much to cover for Gaithersburg at this point. Like, 2 of those kids are going to go off. Right. Minimum. So, I got Gaithersburg. They're going to put up a good fight, as all Gaithersburg teams do. It's not going to be a cakewalk, but at the end of the day, I expect Paint Branch to come out on top. The score at the end of the game may seem lopsided, but I expect if you dissect the entire game, it'll be more competitive than the final score would indicate. But I got
Damon, you know this next game is personal for me. It's Magruder versus number 5 Sherwood. Those who don't know, Sherwood and Magruder have been bitter rivals for a while now. And you already know I'm going to be pulling for Sherwood heavy in this one. Magruder has improved over the last 2 years, and Brian Juarez has been really running well for them. How do you see this game going?
Yeah, Sherwood's going to keep the ball rolling. And I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but when you're at the bottom, there's no way to go. But Magruder has made some strides.
Right.
They got a win last week. They put it on Northwood, 51-28.
Right.
Excellent, solid win. But yeah, they're running again. They're coming up against one of the 4A state title contenders, who happen to have, in my opinion, the best wide receiver in the state.
Yes, sir.
And that's public and private.
So you're on my train now. You're on the train. You're on the train.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Hey, man.
Absolutely.
Come on board.
Marcus Sims is the best wide receiver in the state. Yeah.
Come on board.
I want to
man.
hear about some kid from Damascus.
Thank you.
I want to hear about
Yes, sir. Yep. Yep.
Marcus Sims. Matter of fact, I heard from another coach in the county who's been around for a while, a head coach, that he's the best wide receiver he has seen in his multiple decades coaching in this county.
Hey, man.
That's saying a lot. There's been a lot of good receivers come through this county.
Right.
For this particular coach to say that speaks volumes.
Trying to
about
tell
how
you.
good Marcus.
Trying to tell you. Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's not all about Marcus Sims. Like, yeah, he's the leader of the team. He's the captain. He's the D1 recruit, the West Virginia commit.
Right.
But Sherwood has a lot of other weapons that you have to worry about, as we saw in that Clarksburg game. Travis Levy, I mean, what more needs to be said? He went for over 100 yards versus a solid Clarksburg defense. Like,
Right.
if you get 100 against Clarksburg, yeah, your offensive line and your backfield is doing their job.
Right.
And as we saw in that game, there's some wrinkles that Sherwood can throw at you. Marcus Sims got into the passing game.
Right.
That was very, very entertaining.
Right.
So yeah, that's just one more thing you have to worry about. You think you can just double Marcus Sims all game, and that's going to work out? That you couldn't be more wrong.
Right.
It's basically the thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, Magruder's improved, but they haven't improved enough to give Sherwood a run for their money. I'm picking Sherwood to win this game. I think they're going to have they're not going to have their highest output of the season. That 47 point score they put up against BCC is going to be hard to top, but they're going to come close. I got them winning 40-6.
As for the QO Wooten game, QO really rebounded versus WJ. Wooten kind of got surprised by RM, the way that game turned out. I think we're going to find out a lot about Wooten, the kind of mental toughness that they have. I kind of see this game, I honestly feel like this game is going to be a little bit more competitive than people actually make it out to be. I think Dean Spitz and those boys are a little bit better than people think. I think they're going to show it on Friday, but all in all, I got QO coming out on top, 42-24. I think QO is going to pull away late in the game because the running game of QO's, I think, will prove to be too much for Wooten. But I think all in all, Wooten's going to put up a fight against QO, but I think QO just got so much more talent right now. A game that is outside the 6, but definitely be keeping my eye on, I know you will too, is Richard Montgomery going over to their hated rivals in the Rockville Rams. I'm not going to take away too much from Rockville's last game. I still think they're a solid team. A kid to look out for is Jordan Green from RM. This kid's just been a monster. I mean, he's one of the top rushers in the county. I've been singing his praises since the beginning of the season. He hasn't disappointed. I know this is one of your personal favorites, Damon. How do you see this game going?
Yeah, Montgomery, we talked about them in the preseason as one of the sleeper teams this season, and they're living up to it. They're 2-0 for the first time in a long time. They're averaging around 32 points a game.
Right.
The defense is stout.
Absolutely.
Only giving up 7 points through 2 games.
Right.
They had a shutout against Kennedy last week. This will be the best team they faced all season in Rockville.
Right.
Rockville seems to, they definitely lost a step in terms of their offensive output.
Right.
With the loss of Chuck Reese and their offensive coordinator, but they're still the high-flying offense we expect from the Rockville Rams. Unfortunately, they ran into, in my opinion, the best team in the county at this point in Damascus.
Right.
So, yeah. The Masters are going to shut out a lot of teams this year. So, I wouldn't hang my head too much on that loss, is basically what I'm saying. It's done. It's over. You're not going to see them for the rest of the year. You're not even in their region.
Right.
Whatever. But I expect Rockville will probably take another L this week against Richard Montgomery. Yeah, it's starting to look like Richard Montgomery is the Blair of 2015.
Yeah, they're looking good.
They're looking. Coach Klopp's got them going.
Yeah.
I mean, what more can I say? Looking at their schedule, it's going to be a minute before I pick against them. It probably won't be until, what are we looking at? Week 6, 7 when they play Northwest.
Yeah, I was looking at that.
They're going to go into, I expect Richard Montgomery to go into, when they face Northwest on October 9th, to be undefeated, which is crazy.
Yeah, that's insane.
But it's awesome. I absolutely love it. Like you said, Richard Montgomery is led by the running back, Jordan Green. He went off for 165 yards.
Yes.
I mean, come on.
Yes.
Come on.
Yes.
On only 18 attempts?
Yes.
That's ridiculous.
Yes.
And it's not a one-man show. Spencer Silverstein, he's getting the job done at quarterback, keeping the defense honest. The receivers, they're doing their thing. They spread it out. There's not one specific target you can just focus on or double team. So,
right.
With all that being said, I got Richard Montgomery coming on top in another awesome game. If you guys don't know, when Rockville and Richard Montgomery get together, it's fireworks. It is fireworks.
So it's
absolutely fireworks. But I don't expect any dramatic comebacks this time around. But it will be a thoroughly entertaining game. I'm positive of that. I got Richard Montgomery coming out on top, 32-28.
It's a solid score, man. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Damon, is there anything that you want to say before we go out?
As usual, if you have any questions or comments, you can hit me up on Twitter at Nomad Anderson, or you can shoot me a message on the message board at mocofootball.com. Thankfully, our boss, Mike Cornejo, a.k.a. K-Dog, has given me the week off to celebrate my 30-ish birthday. So I will not be in attendance at any games. I'll be celebrating some adult activities, but I will be plugged in to what's going on around the county this Friday and Saturday, and then I'll be back on the grind next week.
Sounds good. Be safe.
Thank you, sir.
There's a lot of stuff going on out there. Well, everybody, if you can get out to the game, get out to the games, and support the kids, man. You guys have been great. Every single stadium I've been in so far has been great, and just keep on doing what you guys are doing. This is MocoFootball.com weekly podcast, and we're out.